When my husband's family stripped me naked in front of hundreds of shoppers at Chicago's premier mall, screaming, "This is what poor people deserve," I thought my life was over. But then two men in $10,000 suits walked through the crowd and said the three words that changed everything: "Nobody touches our sister." What happened next shocked everyone, including me. My name is Isabella, and I need to tell you about the day that destroyed my old life and gave me a new one. What happened at Oak Brook Center will haunt me forever, but not for the reasons you might think. This is about how the people who should have protected me became my worst enemies, and how the family I thought I'd lost forever became my salvation. 3 years ago, I married Ryan thinking I was starting fresh. I come from nothing. My parents died when I was 16, and I was raised by my aunt in a cramped apartment on Chicago's South Side. I had two older brothers, Marcus and David, who were brilliant and ambitious. After college, they both moved to California to pursue tech ventures. Gradually, we lost touch, mainly because I was ashamed of how little I'd accomplished compared to them. Ryan seemed perfect when we met. He was charming and came from what appeared to be a successful family. His mother Patricia and father Robert lived in a beautiful house in Naperville. His sister Ashley always wore designer clothes and drove luxury cars. I thought marrying into this family would give me the stability I'd always craved. I was devastatingly wrong. From day one in their house, Patricia made it clear I wasn't welcome. She made cutting remarks about my thrift store clothes, my background, my lack of college education. "I don't understand why Ryan settled for someone like you," she'd say over morning coffee. "He could have had any girl from our social circle." Robert would just grunt and look away, never defending me. Ashley would laugh and add her own cruel comments. The worst part was Ryan's reaction. The man who'd promised to love and protect me stayed silent every time his family attacked me. Sometimes he even joined in, making jokes about how I needed to better myself to fit into their world. I worked part-time at a Barnes & Noble, and though the pay was modest, I contributed most of my earnings to household expenses. Patricia took my money but kept complaining I wasn't contributing enough. She made me do most of the cleaning and cooking, treating me more like hired help than family. The breaking point came when Patricia announced she was planning a grand celebration for her 55th birthday at Oak Brook Center. It wasn't just a party. She wanted it to be a social event where all her wealthy friends could see how successful and refined her family was. A few days before the party, Patricia handed me a shopping bag with a smug smile. "This is your outfit for my birthday," she said. Inside was a cheap, gaudy purple dress that looked like it came from a discount bin. The fabric was thin and scratchy, and when I held it up, I could see it was at least 2 sizes too small. "Patricia, I don't think this will fit me," I said quietly. She laughed coldly. "It's perfect for someone of your status. Besides, we can't have you looking too good and upstaging the real family members." Ashley, who was watching nearby, burst into giggles. "Oh, Mom, it's perfect." "It's exactly what she deserves." Ryan walked by, saw the dress, and shrugged. "Just wear it, Isabella. It's one day." My heart sank as I realized they'd planned this humiliation deliberately. They wanted me to look bad, to feel uncomfortable, to know my place.
Before we continue, please comment below where you are watching from, and don't forget to subscribe.
Marcus and David, my brothers, walked toward me with expressions I'd never seen before. Their faces were calm, but their eyes held a cold fury that made the air around us feel dangerous. Marcus, my older brother, immediately took off his suit jacket and wrapped it around my shoulders. His voice was calm, but it carried clearly through the suddenly silent crowd. "Nobody touches our sister." David stood beside him, and I watched as he scanned the faces of my tormentors with the calculating gaze of a predator studying prey. Patricia's mouth fell open in shock. She had no idea who these men were, but something about their presence made her take a step back. Who are you?" she stammered. David smiled, but it wasn't friendly. It was the kind of smile that makes smart people very nervous. "Allow me to introduce myself," he said in a voice like silk wrapped around steel. "I'm David, and this is my brother Marcus. We're Isabella's family, her real family, and we own 40% of this mall." The reaction was immediate and electric. Several people in the crowd gasped in recognition. The mall manager, who had been watching from a distance, suddenly rushed over with a panicked expression. Mr. Marcus, Mr. David, we had no idea you were visiting. Is there anything we can do for you? I watched in amazement as Patricia's face went completely white. Robert began to stutter and back away. Ashley quickly tried to hide her phone, probably deleting the videos she'd taken. Ryan looked like he wanted the earth to swallow him whole. Marcus kept his arm around me as David pulled out his phone. Yes, this is David Chen. I need our legal team at Oak Brook Center immediately. We have a situation requiring immediate attention. He paused. No, it's not business. It's personal. My sister has been assaulted and publicly humiliated. I want everything documented and everyone involved identified. The aftermath. The transformation in the atmosphere was unbelievable. The security guards who had hesitated before now surrounded us, asking how they could help. The mall manager apologized profusely. The shoppers who had been recording my humiliation were now deleting their videos, realizing they could be in legal trouble. But my brothers weren't finished. David looked directly at Patricia and said, "Ma'am, you just committed assault and public indecency against a member of our family. You recorded it, made it public, and did so with clear intent to cause maximum psychological damage. Our attorneys will be very interested in discussing this with you." Patricia tried desperately to backpedal. "Please wait. There's been a misunderstanding. We're family. It was just a family argument." But Marcus cut her off with a gesture. "She stopped being his family the moment you laid hands on her, and we stopped caring about your excuses the moment we saw our sister crying on this floor." He turned to Ryan, and his voice became even colder. "As for you, the man who promised to protect her and instead stood by while she was humiliated, you're about to discover that breaking promises to people we love has consequences." Within an hour, the mall had transformed into what looked like a command center for justice. My brother's lawyers arrived. Private investigators began interviewing witnesses. The videos that Ashley and others had recorded were recovered by digital forensics experts. But the immediate consequences were even more dramatic. David made a few phone calls, and I watched in amazement as Patricia's perfect world crumbled in real time. It turned out Robert worked for a company that did significant business with one of my brother's firms. That relationship ended with a single call. Ashley's credit cards, funded by her parents' accounts, were frozen. Patricia's membership at her exclusive country club was suspended pending investigation. Ryan received divorce papers I had secretly prepared months before, but never had the courage to file. The most satisfying moment came when mall security escorted Patricia, Robert, and Ashley off the premises with permanent bans. As they were led away, Patricia attempted one last desperate plea. "Please, we didn't know who she was. If we'd known she had such powerful brothers, we never would have." But David cut her off with a humorless laugh. "That's exactly the problem. You treated her like this because you thought she had nobody to protect her. You're not sorry for what you did. You're just sorry there are consequences." That afternoon, my brothers took me to a beautiful penthouse apartment they'd prepared in one of Chicago's most exclusive buildings. As I sat surrounded by luxury I'd never imagined, they explained what had happened to them over the years. They'd built a technology empire spanning multiple countries. They owned stakes in everything from shopping centers to software companies. "We never forgot about you, Isabella," Marcus said. "We tried to contact you several times, but your phone number had changed and you'd moved. When our mutual friend Kevin recognized you in a family photo Ryan posted on social media, we started investigating your situation." It turned out that Kevin, who'd gone to Northwestern with Ryan, had shown them the photo. They'd been trying to figure out how to reconnect with me when they received an emergency call from someone at the mall who recognized me from old family photos they'd seen. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind of legal proceedings. Patricia and Robert lost their house due to enormous legal fees. Ashley had to get her first real job in her entire life. Ryan spent months begging for forgiveness, but the damage was done. The most beautiful part of this experience wasn't the revenge or the justice, though both felt wonderful. It was rediscovering my relationship with my brothers and remembering who I was before years of abuse convinced me I was worthless. I started working for one of their companies, not because I needed charity, but because I actually had talent they could use. I began therapy to heal from the trauma, and most importantly, I learned to set boundaries and demand the respect I deserved. 8 months later, I met James, A kind and gentle man who worked as an architect and treated me like I was precious from the very first day. A year after that horrible day at the mall, I received a wedding invitation. Ryan was marrying one of Ashley's former friends. I threw the invitation away without a second thought and went shopping for my own engagement party. James had proposed the week before. The last I heard about my former in-laws, they'd moved to a small apartment and were struggling financially. Patricia had been forced to take a part-time job at Target, the same kind of job she used to mock. Sometimes people ask if I feel bad about what happened to them. The honest answer is no. They destroyed me because they enjoyed it. The consequences they faced were the natural result of their choices, just as my happiness was the natural result of finally choosing to value myself.